Hi everybody, welcome to BI Land. Today we are going to see how to have dynamic axes in Power BI using DAX measure. This is a very important concept and you will see it repeatedly in real-life BI solutions. This video will definitely boost your DAX skills, so stay with me and let's do it. Alright, so we want to have a bar chart to see our production either per year or per quarter. And we want to have a slicer here that we can choose either quarter or year. And when I choose quarter, my bar chart in x-axis to be quarter, and when I choose year in x-axis to be year. Sometimes you only need to put the quarter and year in your matrix and go down in the hierarchy, so you will show either quarter or year. But this is not possible always. It could be a simple reason that the client doesn't want that. The client wants to have a slicer, simple slicer here, big fonts to just choose either year or quarter. And another reason would be a complication in your measures. Basically, it wouldn't be possible to do that, or it makes it unclear or difficult. So for example, if you want to do the comparison with other periods, so it wouldn't be that simple. And so basically you will need to do it with DAX measure. And in this video, our goal is to do it with DAX measure. I want a slicer here to choose either quarter or year, and my bar chart in x-axis to be changed to year or quarter. And also, what our client wants to show is periods, so either years or quarters, and he wants to compare these periods, the percentage change. So let's see how we can do it. The point that we should agree on here is that if I want to have in my x-axis either year or quarter, it means that year or quarter should be in the same column in our table. And for that, I need to create a table that contains year and quarter in the same column. And later, we're going to make relationship between this table and our calendar. And this relationship is going to be an active relationship, and then we are going to call for this relationship in our measure. Let's start creating our table and nest both year and quarter in the same column. In our model, we have a calendar with relationship with our fact table. And our calendar, we have calculated our calendar using different functions. And if you don't know how to create this calendar, please watch our previous video about creating calendar in Power BI using DAX functions. You can find the link below in the description or in the upper right corner of your screen. Make sure to watch it because we are going to use two columns that we have created in our calendar. So here we have our year and also year quarter. These two columns are the columns that we are going to nest together so that we can use in our x-axis when we call them with the slicer. To put these two columns together, I'm going to create a new table. A table that has year and quarter year in the same column. So let's create new table. I'm going to call this X table, simply. To create a table, I can use selected columns, for example. Selected columns allows me to create a table from another table here. And the table that we are going to use to create our new table is calendar. I'm going to use calendar. And what I need to have in this new table is the year. I need to give it a name. I'm going to just give X as name. My expression is simply year of the calendar. If I hit enter, this is going to give me a one column table. I want to have a second column so that I can use it as slicer. So if I want to have a second column here, I can simply add name 2, which is ID. ID is basically the column name that I'm going to use in the slicer to select either year or quarter. because these are years, I want to have the second column next to them showing that this is year, year, year. And for that, I'm going to only write here year so that it is going to repeat the word year next to the number of the year. And I hit enter. Now I have my ID also, which is here. This is our new table, but as you see, I only have for now years. I need to add also quarter here. To add the quarter column in our X column here, I need to use union function. Basically, if I use second selected column, I can have quarters also. To make it easily readable, I'm going to put this inside a variable. So Alt Enter. I'm going to put this variable here, and then I'm going to create another variable quarter, and I'm going to make exactly the same calculation, but this time selected columns. I want it from my calendar, and I'm going to have in the same column because I want to have quarter in this column. So I'm going to call it the same, and then I want to bring from my calendar year quarter, and this needs to be exactly the same thing. And in my ID column, I want to put this time quarter. All right, now I have my two variables. What I want to do now is to return. I want to return the union of these two columns, because the first one is giving me year and second one is giving me the quarter, and I want to put both of them in the same column, so I'm going to use union function. Union function basically puts both of the columns in the same column, and here I'm going to only say the year from my first table and also my second table, which is quarter. Union function, we need to provide tables, and my tables are the calculated tables inside this formula. And if I hit enter, it's going to give me year, and also if I go down below, I have also year quarter with the ID of quarter. As we see that this is only repeating the same things, I don't need to repeat like 2021 quarter 4. I only need one time because this is some kind of parameter table. And for that, I'm going to use distinct function. If I use distinct function, it is going to basically give me the distinct of my union table. If I bring this, so I have now 2020, 2019, 20, 21 as year, and 2019 all the quarters for these years, and with the ID year and quarter. Basically now we have our X table, and I don't need this space here. Okay, great. This table basically is going to allow me to have dynamic axes. With ID column, I can choose my selection, which is year or quarter, and when I use year, it's going to bring the axis these values, and when I choose quarter, it's going to bring me these values. But this table now doesn't have any relationship with our main tables, which is calendar and our fact table. So for now, we can't really use this. We need to make the relationship with our calendar, which is connected to our fact table that we are going to use, so that we can use our table. But before doing that, let's bring a visual and just test this. Already I can bring a table, and I can bring my axis here. Now I see I have both of them, and I can make ID as slicer. So if I choose quarter, I have quarter. If I choose year, I have year. Okay. Now let's make our relationship. We go here. I have my X table, and I'm going to make the relationship with our calendar. I'm going to bring this here. I have only two columns that I nested in my axis column, so I'm going to have only two relationships here. If you had more than two, you can also have as many as relationships that you want, as many as columns. Imagine that if in your slicer you have many axes, so you only need to make multiple relationships with each one of them. Here I have already my year. I'm going to do this relationship with year. Because I might have multiple relationships, I'm going to make all of them inactive, and I'm going to call them when I need them inside DAX function. And the second one is year quarter. Year quarter, the same column. And this one also I'm going to make it inactive relationship. Now I have my same column, X column, which has year and year quarter. I'm making this relationship with my calendar table. Now this table is connected to our model, and we can bring information of our fact table in our visuals. Let's do our calculations for our visual. I'm going to go here. I'm going to create a new measure. I'm going to call this measure X production, and I'm going to use switch function. Because our parameter table or access table has two relationships, I need to provide the information in my calculation to see if the quarter is selected to choose the quarter relationship, and if the year is selected to choose the year relationship. If I only provide calculate function and then use relationship, and in the use relationship I only use the year relationship, then when I choose quarter I will have empties. And if I only give quarter relationship, if I choose year I will have empty for year. And for that reason I need to use 2 times use relationship inside my function. I'm going to use switch function. We already know how to use switch function. If you want to know more about switch function, please watch another video of this channel with the link below. I'm going to simply give true as expression. So I don't have expression, my expression is always true. And I'm going to say if selected value. Also, if you don't know how to use selected value, also I explained this in another video and you can find the link below. So I'm going to say if the selected value of our X ID is year, which means that if user chooses year in the slicer, then calculate. Our expression is oil production. We have already a measure for that, and which is simply a sum function. But this time I'm going to use relationship. And inside the use relationship, we provide two columns. First column is gonna be from our access table, which is X, and second one from our calendar, year. Parentheses up to here, and then I'm going to hit Alt Enter to go a line below. I'm going to give it selected value of our X ID this time is quarter, then calculate oil production, but use relationship between X and our year quarter column. Close parentheses, and if I hit enter, I have my measure based on a slicer with dynamic axes. So if I bring this measure in this table, I'm going to put production here. In quarter, when I choose quarter, I have these numbers, and if I choose year, now I have my year function. I can make this as bar chart, and I have year and I have quarter. this is not sorted correctly. The same for year, because it is sorting with the value of the measure and not by the axis. The axis is already sorted in our calendar. So I'm going to sort by X, and this is from the last to first, and I'm going to change it from descending to ascending. And now I have my sorting which works also. And I put year 2019, 2021. If I put quarter, I have quarter 1, 2, 3, and etc. Alright, here our main measure was simple. It was only oil production, and it was the same for both quarter and year. Most of the time when we have dynamic axes, the measure for each slicer selection is different, which means that for quarter I have a measure and for year I have another measure. A simple example can be the percentage change comparing to the previous period. Imagine here I want to have a line also when I choose quarter for each quarter to show percentage change comparing to the previous quarter. And when my axis is year, I want to show percentage change comparing to the previous year. How we can do that? That's gonna be fun. Let's do the calculations. Let's go here. Let's first create a measure which simply calculates the percentage change for quarter, and another measure that calculates percentage change for year, and then later we'll put them inside the switch function. I'm going to call this percentage change quarter, and it's gonna be oil production divided by calculate oil production. Then I'm going to use previous quarter. Basically, previous quarter, you can put previous quarter as a filter inside calculate function, and it will calculate your expression, which is oil production here, for the previous quarter. So it is very useful function for such requirements. So I'm going to say previous quarter, and for previous quarter you need to provide date. It is important, it is not quarter, it is only date, and I'm going to provide my date from my calendar table. Now this is the division. I need to use -1 to have it as percentage change. And notice that if I hit enter, sometimes our previous quarter calculation will be 0, like for example for 2019 quarter 1, because we don't have the 2018 quarter 4. It is going to be 0, and if I do the calculation by 0, it is going to give me infinite number, which I can't use it here. I could use divide function. Basically, divide function, when it is 0, it brings nothing. So I could put, instead of the division sign here, I could use divide function. And divide function won't bring infinite number when this is 0. But the problem is that we are using -1. So with divide function, I will have still -1 for first quarter, while I don't need that number. So instead of using divide function, I'm going to simply put a condition. In my condition, I'm going to say if this calculation is not blank, then do my main calculation. So if not is blank, my calculation, close parentheses, if not is blank my calculation, then do this calculation. And this way we are sure that for first time period I won't have anything, it will be blank because I put this condition. When it's true, it's going to calculate this for me, and when it's false, the result of f, it is going to be empty. I hit enter. So this is quarter change, and I'm going to do the same calculation. There are other ways, but in this video we are just going to do it like this, two separate measures. This time I'm going to do this calculation on year, and instead of previous quarter, I'm going to use previous year. So previous year is like previous quarter. It calculates your expression for previous period. Year, previous year. And this is my second calculation. Now I can have another calculation nesting both of them and choosing the one we want when we choose the slicer selection. And it is going to be like our measure in X production. And I'm going to simply copy this, escape, and then I'm going to create new measure. And this time I'm going to call it X percentage change. And this time I'm saying that it's exactly the same thing, but this time I'm saying that when my selected value is year, then calculate percentage change for year, percentage change for year. And when my selected value is quarter, calculate percentage change for quarter. And then hit enter. Now I have my measure. I can bring it here. I need to change my chart from column chart to also line and clustered column chart. And I'm going to bring this to the line values. And now I have my percentage change over each period. I'm going to change this X percentage change in percentage. So this is our percentage change. And also I'm going to show data labels. This is not showing it good. I don't want to show the background. And I'm going to change the color also to see better. Probably this color. Okay. So we see that from 0.35 million to 0.26 million, we have minus 23% change. And same for the rest. And we don't have this number for the first column because we don't have previous period. And if I choose year, this is first period, I won't have the percentage change. And then I have the percentage change for two other periods. We don't want title here. Color black. We don't want title. I'm going to change here the name. Instead of putting X production, I'm going to put oil production and the other one percentage change. And the title, and here I can change this to either to orientation to horizontal, so I have quarter or year. You can use a good custom visual also. This custom visual Chiclet Slicer, you can download it from Microsoft website app sources. It's a quite good slicer, so I can change to this slicer. Different colors. Now you have better visual. So now if I choose year, I have year, and if I choose quarter, I have quarter. We need to change to not have multiple selection and only forced selection, so that I only either have year or quarter. And if we want to have different color for our oil production in data label, then I'm going to customize series. And for oil production, I'm going to change the color. Okay, I think that's all I have to say for this video. Don't hesitate to share with us your methods for dynamic axes. Like this video. Also subscribe to this channel. It helps me a lot for the coming videos. Until then, have a great day. Bye bye.